Well, hello, hello. How are you today? This is Harmony Stamps with Michelle, and I'm Michelle. I'm an independent Stamping Up demonstrator. And today I'm going to show you how to make a little gift box that's a little more sturdy than the Just Designer Series paper gift boxes. This is a retired paper. This was in the celebration that just went. And so we're not going to be using this paper for our gift box today, but that's what it's going to look like, kind of. We're going to make a couple of adjustments and all that fun stuff. But first, I have a little bit of business to discuss. So, just as a reminder, all month for the entire month of March, if you want to get the make and takes for the three projects we did at the beginning of the month, then you can use that host code in the description below or also up on your screen currently and make a purchase with that host code of $35 or more before shipping and taxes. And then you will get two each of the make and takes for these three designs. So you'll have enough paper and embellishments to make a total of 6 cards, two each of three. I will do the die cutting and all of that, but I can't do any of your stamping, so you'll need your own stamps, your own ink, and your own adhesives. But you will have all of those. If you just really don't want to do that, you would just rather have completed cards. That's the other option. You can get one each of the cards already made for you for that $35 purchase. All right, so that is our make and takes, and that's how they work every month. If you go past $50, then you will also be able to receive an embellishment from me. All right, I'm going to remove that host code from the screen, get it out of our way because we don't need to deal with it anymore. So today, like I said, we're going to be making that box. I've been showing you the two suites and the online exclusives that just released. So on Wednesday, we did this card with the A Little Latte suite, and I've got more cards coming, but right now, that's the only one we've done with that suite. And then yesterday, we did these two lovely cards with the Simply Zinnia um, flowering Zinnia suite. And so you should see how crazy my place is right now, cutting up the bits for those cards for one of the classes I'm doing. Okay, but because of all of that, I have a plethora of extra bits and pieces, what we might call scrap. And this project actually is pretty good for using up scrap. Whereas when you're making the entire bag from your designer series paper, that uses up a whole lot more of your designer series paper. And in some cases, a whole 12 by 12 sheet, depending on the size of the bag you want to make. But you can economize on your paper by what we're going to be doing today. All right, so first I'm going to remove this and get my trimmer turned the right way. I have a piece of extra thick basic white cardstock. It's just a 8.5 by 11. I'm going to cut it down to 6 by 9. So there's our 6. That one's easy. The other one, I have to open up my arm, bring it out to the 9, and then we have another little piece. Okay, so that's good. Now we need to do some scoring. Oh, and let me bring this up for you. Come on, show it. Don't want to remove it. I want to show it. Why is it not showing? Add to stage. There we go. Doesn't like showing it in that. Okay, that's good. So these are our dimensions for you. Then we are going to score it. And so what it's saying is to score both of the short sides at 1.5. So this is the short side. And I just say 1.5 because I literally take it on one and then I flip it around for the other. So 2, turn it all the way around and go to 1.5 again. Okay. Then on the long sides, we want to go to 3 3/4. So that's just one of those quarters before the 4. 1, 2. Then once again, we're going to flip it around and do the same. 3 3/4. 1, 2. All right. For the moment, we're done with the trimmer, so I'm going to put it aside, but it will be coming back, I promise, because we don't really have a choice. Actually, let's just, there we go. So what I do like to do is just kind of make folds where my score lines are, get them started, and then we have a little cutting to do. I'm not burnishing it just yet. I will, but not just yet. All right, so I need my snips. And we're just going to cut these edges to this score line. But we're going to do it at a miter, which means we're slightly going to the right and then heading towards the center. Then we're slightly going to the left towards the center. And we end up with this little triangular piece, okay? Look at that just a little bit further. This is just going to make it fold up and rest easier. And then we're going to do the same thing. Let me switch my eyeglasses out. We are going to do the same thing with this one. Cutting in. And there we go. Well, let's get it out. Come along. There we go. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a gap now. That's what we want. The gap is what we're looking for. All right. Good job, everybody. Oh, I need my tear and tape real quick. You know, you do this and you think you're all ready and then you forget, oops, I forgot I did that. All right. So once we put some tear and tape on these little edges, I try to do 2 sections just because this is what's holding your box together. So you want the strongest glue that you've got. And I think for 3D objects, especially ones that are meant to carry a little weight, the tear and tape is the best adhesive choice. But you don't want to go too light on it either, you know, so you want to make sure there's plenty there. Okay. So when we fold it up, it's going to have these go in, one of these go in, and then the other one is going to hug it. All right. And so the one that's hugging it needs tear and tape on the outside. Okay. And now that we have our mitering done, I'm going to go ahead and burnish my edges real quick. And that also helps burnish that tear and tape down, which is also good. All right. Let me get this. And this one. There we go. Now we have some nice crisp edges. Just what we want. Next, we have to decide which paper we're going to use. You can do the inside. I ended up doing the inside on this one. I'll show you what it looks like on the inside just because it's awesome. So the inside is also got plenty of paper. There's a little scene on the back and on this side, and then just the floral print on those and on the bottom. And then again, we have the scene, and that's still part of the same scene, and then the floral print on the back. I did use the celebration ribbon as well, which worked out quite good. Let me get this all back in. All right. So what I know I'm going to want is some of this. So I ended up with these square pieces, these strips, fat strips and thin strips. I mean, I have strips everywhere, let me tell you, which is good because most of them are going to work just fine. And I have, if I wanted to repeat the patterns I had in the cards, I have all 4 of those patterns, but I also have 2 additional patterns to choose from. And I think because I'm going to have to, in order to use this smaller piece, I'm going to need to have something else up here. And so I think I'm going to do is take one of my thinner strips, if I can get one from up here. Of course, you want to just make everything so crazy. There we go. Go across the top. Okay. So what we're going to do is find out what the size is. That is a 3 1/4 by 3. And we want, when I say portrait, it's going to be like this. Okay. Now this way I don't have to recut everything, which is really good for me because I don't want to use the parts that I was using for the cards. So these are the leftover bits. That's what I want to use. And that's why I have to make adjustments in how I'm going to do my scene. So I think I'm going to use this one for the front. And again, I will be using that as the top portion there. And I think in the inside, I will go ahead and use this one. All right, I'm liking that. Do I have one that's a better fit? Because this one is longer. Yes. All right, so I will cut a full strip of this instead of doing the same thing on the interior. Perfect. Let me get my trimmer out, and our width on the front and back pieces is 2 7/8 across. So I think I want to see more of this full flower. So 2 7/8 is just 1/8 of an inch underneath the 3. So we're not taking off a whole lot, but we are taking off enough. And that is going to go attach down here. We're gonna have a little bit of a gap, which is what we want. All right. And then what is the remaining difference? So I think a 1/2 inch is going to be good. So I'm going to cut this strip to a 1/2 inch. All right. And I also need it to be that 2 7/8. So I'm going to cut that and make sure it's going to fit the way I want it to before I glue anything down. Beautiful. That's exactly what I want. All right, so for our front, I'm feeling good about that. For our side, I think I want to mirror our sides with these. So as you can see, the stripe is going in the different direction to the one up top, but I think I like that. And it's already wide enough. It's probably a little bit less wide than what I'm asking for there, which is 1 3/8. Let me see. So 3/8 would be just under, yeah, so this is 1 1/4. So it is just a bit thinner, but it's going to be fine. All right, and we want it 3 5/8. Yes, 3 5/8. So 4/8 is the half mark, and then you just go 1/8 more on after 3 1/2. And there's our first one. Let's go ahead and get our second one. Pretty easy. All right, we're liking that. So we have our front. We might as well glue it down. Now there's a reason I'm doing it in this order, because I don't want to accidentally put the tear and tape on the wrong side, which I have done. So there's a reason. And because of the way when you fold it up, there's always going to be a front and a back. So the back is the one that's going to be tucked all the way in, and the front is the one going over, so that when you're looking at it from the front, it looks seamless. When you're looking at it from the back, you actually have a little bit of a seam on each side. And so this is the front, so that's why we wanted to figure out what that's going to look like first. All right, I'm going to get my seal. Make sure I'm putting it on the right side. And I do try and get fairly close to the edges with this. You can also use your Tombow glue, your green glue. That works too. And then I just like a little bit in the center. And again, I am using a bit more tape than I normally would for these sorts of things, just because I want it to hold itself together pretty good. A little bit further down. There we go. So I'm looking for about an 1/8 inch seam here in all directions. And then I'm going to get my striped piece for the front. Oh wait, there we go. Make sure we have enough. All right, and then I'm going to even it up and down and along the same side to side as what's underneath it. Beautiful. And all right, so we're going to put this one, and again, we're making sure we're in line with the other piece, and then we are even side to side, and as we bring it down, we want to keep that evenness. And that's going to actually extend a little bit below the box, simply because of that mitered edge. So we're going to miter that off. There we go. Beautiful. Now we will repeat with the other piece. But because this is moving and getting carried and squished together a little bit here and a little bit there, that's why I like to use extra adhesive on these bits than I would if I was just a card front that's not getting manipulated a lot. And we'll cut off that little extra bit down there. There we go. All right, so our front is done. And our, so what we'll need now is a back piece. And I usually like something that is neutral. And if I'm going to do that, nope, that one's too thin. I mean, I could do the same thing. Now, this is upside down because when you want these facing the opposite direction, the front and the back. So if I were to do this on the back, and I think I do like that, then maybe I will use this as the opposite. Okay, I think I like that too. Just think it all out. That's the process. All right, get my trimmer again. Oh, over here. Trimmer, where are you? And again, we are doing this to 2 7/8, which is the right 1/8 below the 3. And down. And the top bit is going to be, let me grab, no, it's too thin. All right. So let's just start with cutting this to 2 7/8. That's the best way. And then thin it down to 1/2 inch from there. I'm just going to go a teeny bit. I'm going to stick for half an inch, since that's what we did on the front. There we go. All right, set this aside again, and we are going to put our adhesive. Oops. Lining it up, giving a little gap. There we go. And then that's going to go across the top just like that. All right, so the front of our card is basically ready. So then we want to once again reaffirm which is the front of our card, because this means on the inside, this is where you're going to be looking. So this would be the front of the inside. But since we know that this is not going to have paper on it, we can now put our tear and tape down on this one. And again, I'm going to do those 2 rows just like I did on the top. And I try and get fairly close to the actual edges, just because those are where it's going to peel the fastest if you have any kind of looseness to begin with. So I definitely want to make sure that those, I'm as close to those as I can be without going over. And if you do go over, you know, you can push it back on itself a bit, and that will help too. All right, we still don't want to tape it together yet because we want to, once again, do the inside. I think, nope. Is this wide enough? No. This is the only one that's wide enough, unless, bingo. All right, so I have this, which I think I'm gonna want this side of it. All right, and get our trimmer out again, and we are at 2 7/8, just like we were on the narrow ends. And that's going to be our bottom. Then we'll need something for here, and these are going to be on the inside, so we'll want something across here. You can do this side too. I did in the other box. I'm not going to for this box today, but this is going to be perfect for up and down all the way. So we need this one to be the 3 5/8. So again, that's you go to the 3 1/2 and 1/8 more, and that gives you 3 5/8. Okay. So then I need to thin it down because it is just a little bit too wide. So I need 2 7/8. So if you go to the 3 and back it off 1/8, that's giving you your 2 7/8, and then that's going to go right in there. Nice, nice, nice. Let me see. So this last one is a little tricky. This last one I'm going to use green glue, and we're going to insert it when it is actually already assembled. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down with our seal. Now there is a way to avoid the trickiness, and that's to not put any designer series paper on the sides on the interior. But a decorated interior is certainly lovely. And it is an awesome way to use up your scraps, you know, depending on what you're putting together. Up just a little bit. There we go. All right, so now we get to assemble. And I'm just going to peel away the release tape on the outside, which is going to leave that adhesive strip all the way down, or should, but not always. Sometimes you gotta go to the other side. It can be a little persnickety. Having nails helps. I know some people use things like your take your pick tool. I haven't found those to be terribly useful for me, but you know, other people do find them very useful. I find it more useful on dimensionals than this, but tweezers would be useful for this, I'd say. Oops. There we go. All right, all of that has been removed. So the first thing we're going to do is we're holding this up because we don't want it getting stuck to our surface. We're folding up our little tabs that we mitered. And when we're happy with the shape we've got, we're going to fold this one side up first and line it up. We're just lining it up. We're barely tapping it down, because if we tap it down fully, it's never going to come apart cleanly. But now that I'm happy with where it's at, I'm going to use my bone folder and go in there really strong. So I'm using the glass mat for strength, and I've got my bone folder, and I'm doing it both this way and this way. I'm just rubbing on it to get it really stuck down and bonded. And then I do the same thing for the other side. I don't know if you can see, but you see how it has that edge. That's from those little tabs on the inside, and that's why I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm just going to stick with the flowers, but that is too thin. Those are from something else. All right, I could use this if I don't have any other bit. This is the fun that comes with designing as you go. Okay, so these are 1 3/8 by 3 5/8. So 3 5/8 again, and you go to the 3.5 and you add 1. That gives us our length. Then we have 1 3/8. So you go to the quarter plus an eighth. That gives you 1 3/8. This is now too small. So I think this might be, nope, that's not long enough. All right. There we go. All right, 3 5/8 is the 1/2 inch plus an eighth. There we go. 1 3/8 is a 1/4 inch plus an eighth. Believe it or not, I used to really suck at fractions. But since I've been doing card making, I'm a lot better at it. All right, I think that is going to mean we are done with our cutting. But because it's going to be really hard to get this in there if we're using the runner glue, that's why I need to use my Tombow, which was running just fine yesterday, but now it may be. Oh, no, we're going to have some luck. Good. I'm going near the edge, but not heavily around the edge. And then I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to look what I'm doing, putting it down, and then getting the top part lined up. That's the most important, getting the top part lined up. Once you have the top part lined up, you can use your bone folder, and I can't really show you this, but to make sure the bottom is more lined up. And then I'm just going over it with the bone folder again, like I did with the tear and tape bits. Okay, just like that. Let's go ahead and get the other bit. That side does not want to hold on to the glue stream. All right, just turning around, we're finding the blank side. We're doing the same thing. We're getting it down in there, and then we are going to manipulate it on the top until we have our alignment the way we like it. Then we're going to make any corrections on the bottom with the bone folder. But honestly, it's going to be hard for people to see any errors on this part as long as you're reasonably close to where you want to be. So there's the actual decorated box completed. So we have our front, our side, our back, and our other side. And then on the interior, we have this pattern on the 3 sides. And then down deep into the bottom, we have this paper. But now we need to add a little something extra, right? So, I don't know, at some secondhand store, I found these. This one punches little hearts. This one punches ribbon bits, right? Probably. Ooh, this one's tight. Now we will make it work. All right. So with the other one, I just punched a couple of holes. I used my take your pick tool to pierce the paper all the way through and then use the ribbon. But I couldn't find these because they weren't here in my office. So I am going to basically weave a ribbon through. Oh, I wonder if that's going to be really too thick for what I'm thinking. So I was thinking of doing this, but I think I'm going to maybe do a combination of the pink and this. Let's see. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to just kind of do one slot here. Come on. Can't tell. Nope, it didn't go through. Well, I have to reline it up, and there we go. That one went. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Try and keep it equal distance. And all right. So alternatively, you could have used the trio punch when it was flat, but I wasn't sure how I was going to do this yet then. There we go. That is so weird. And then we're going to want one in the center here. And again, about the same. Oh my goodness. I don't know why it's so hard. But yeah, to have done this with the trio tool, it would have required it to be flat. So it's a little too late for that now. Why does it work sometimes and not others? I don't understand. All right, let's try this one. Let's go from the other direction and see if that makes a difference. All right, we'll just have a front ribbon. Now, one of the reasons I liked having the back ribbon is because I tucked that bone folder into the ribbon to hold it in an upright position, more center mass. I'm trying to find the plastic opener for this. And when in doubt, just pick it up and come along. Where's my take the pick tool? I've got them. There we go. There we go. All right, so what I want to do is run this through both, right? Okay. And then I'm going to tie a bow with it. Or maybe I'll tie a knot with this and bow with the green. There we go. That's a thought. Let's try that. All right. So I just need enough to be able to make an actual knot with it. Which is usually better when you have another hand to help. But there we go. Knot is accomplished. And then we're going to trim it at an angle, boop, and boop. There we go. Okay. Now let's see if we can't fashion a fun bow. Underneath and over. And maybe this is just enough, but I want to see what it looks like. I'm a glutton for a punishment, I guess. Especially doing it live on camera. There's no surer way than to strike fear into the heart of a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator than to tell them they're going to be tying a bow live on camera. However, doing it at a conference is even more terrifying, trust me, although I have not had that experience. But I've certainly seen enough of them at our conferences getting told that, okay, it's time to tie a bow, although they're the ones that actually made the design, so they really didn't want to. They didn't have to. I'm going to trim that down, and I'm actually going to tie these bows down a little bit because they're a little unruly. So I'm going to get out my glue dots. And I actually pull it off with my finger because I want it more squinched up. Right now it's sitting on my thumb because this is a very thin ribbon and I don't really want a whole lot of glue dots sticking out. But I do want it to stay attached where it's down below. And sometimes this is the best way to make a bow do what you want it to do. Come along. Get on there. All right. There we go. And this is perfect for, like oops, hold on. D block fits in this exactly perfectly, as does my bone folder. You can add a few other things in there. Dimensionals, not so much, just because you can actually fit in a little bit at an angle. The smaller embellishments, which is kind of fun and cool. And also when you get paper pumpkin and what's the word, kits, you get these little bits of dimensionals with them frequently. And when I'm making them, I just grab from my dimensional, so I always have extras of those. So that could be a nice little fun thing to stick in here. But because this block is so hefty and weighted, that is why I wanted something sturdier for this little gift. And maybe you're putting something a little bit more sturdy in there, like a roll of quarters for laundry, and just kind of a, hey, happy housewarming gift for someone who's getting into their first apartment. A little gift card for some detergent or other things like that. But there's a lot of things that you can put in here, and you can also make them bigger. You can size them to larger bits. I happen to needed this size, and that's why what we're seeing is this size today. Let me know what you think of our little project. It certainly was fun for me to create. And it's another way to use up those extra bits of scratch paper. Hope you have an amazing day. Don't forget that you can get those make and takes with a $35 order or more before shipping and taxes using the host code in the description below. These are the cards we made yesterday, and I'm cutting up all the pieces for a bunch more of them because that's what I'm doing. That's my project this week, one of them anyways. And then I will be coming to you again live on Wednesday. And then I'm not going to be back again until next week because we have conference and I'm going to be very busy and flying on Sunday for that matter. And I'm going to be exhausted because travel always makes me very tired. Oh, you can also put a sentiment on here of some kind if you want, or just a little 3x3 card would fit in there, I think. Again, at an angle. Or you can do, just a personalized little tag to put in there as a sentiment as well. So there's a lot of variety. But when I come back, I'm going to probably have a catalog in my hands. I won't be able to open it, but I can certainly show you the cover, and I will know what's in it. And I will be making an order from it. This is the new annual catalog. I'm so excited about the annual catalog. It makes me very excited that next week, or nah, yeah, next week. Well, technically, we're on Sunday. So this week, I get to find out what's in the new catalog that's coming out. I'll get to know the new in colors, the new embellishments, the new papers. It's so exciting. We'll even get to see projects with them, and I'll try and post some of those pictures of actual, the artisans who've done the work to demonstrate the stuff that's available to us to order. Um, and there'll be lots of fun things to look at for sure. And I will be putting in my order with that expedited shipping. So it is possible, not guaranteeing it, but it's possible my order could be here Monday or Tuesday. That's what I'm praying for. So then we'll have an unboxing for sure after I get back. Okay, that's really all I have for you today. This has been Harmony Stamps with Michelle. I'm Michelle, your independent Stamping Up demonstrator. If you would like to attend one of my classes, please let me know. I do have a link to my newsletter in the description. And when you get my newsletter once a week, you'll get a free PDF tutorial. It'll list whatever courses I'm offering. Anything that I'm doing live can also be done online. You'll just get a PDF and all of the make and takes. And if it's something complicated, I'll do a little video to show you how to put it together and things like that. But it's all possible to do online. And at some point, I will be developing full online classes and retreats and things like that. But right now, I'm working my way up to it. I still work full time outside of this. So it is quite a bit of work just to do these videos 3 times a week with you guys. So once I get the stamina going and more income coming from this, I can devote more time to this as well. So again, have a fantastic day. I will see you on Wednesday.